You are now watching Cherry Coke with Coach.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 15 of Cherry Coke with Coach. Hey, we're moving along. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. Um, you know, I like to rewatch it and make sure we look pretty on YouTube. So go ahead and check it out on all those spots. Just me today. Kip is baseball. We have had a really another busy weekend with baseball for Kip, and we had first football skills and drills on Sunday when we usually record the podcast, and then I've been working on my iJag. We still have to work through the month of June, but then I also am working over at the cemetery mowing. So it's a busy time of year, but I promise next week we'll have another guest and another week with Kip for you. Give my shout outs today. My first shout out is kind of embarrassing, but I'm out of Cherry Coke right now. So I'm drinking the second best beverage of all time, lemonade. I love me a nice ice cold glass of lemonade. And the one thing that makes it better, because I'm kind of an ice freak, is the little crushed ice. You can get that at school. I grabbed some when I'm on my way home from work tonight, and now it just made my lemonade 100 times better. Shout out number 2 goes to the weight room crew. 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, rolling in there, and always seeing those guys in there, those girls in there, brings a smile on my face to see them working hard and wanting to get better at their craft. Big shout out today to bucket hats. Super hot out today, mowing. Got a nice tan. I mean, it's dark. Farmer's tan. So my legs, I was showing off a lot of thigh today, trying to tan those too. But that bucket hat came in handy. Mowing, practice, summertime shade. So bucket hats are the best. And finally, I watched some YouTube and I watched some Netflix. I love watching some documentaries on anything. Sports documentaries obviously are the first choice, but then war movies, war documentaries, learn about history and stuff like that. That's kind of fun for me to listen to. But on YouTube, I always watch Bad Friends. Every Monday they come out with a new episode. It's Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee. If you guys remember Mad TV back in the day, Bobby Lee was on there. Love that guy. He's hilarious. So I always watch Bad Friends. Joe Rogan, it's a must. But the one show on YouTube that I always watch is The Daily Dozen. It's Barstool Sports. It's a trivia game. So it's sports trivia. They have 12 rounds. They have sports trivia. They have the match. So they take two celebrities, a male and a female, and put their faces together, and you have to try and figure out which ones they are. They just have a lot of topics: movies, music, everything. But it's a fun show. I usually rattle off some sports answers, and I yelled at my wife to come and watch the other stuff so she could answer the right questions for me. But it got me thinking maybe Cherry Coke Coach should have a trivia night. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But yeah, so that's my shout outs for this week. We'll move on to local sports. So all we have now is softball and baseball rolling. Red Oak softball went 1-4 last week. Had a huge win against over Southwest Valley Monday night. They won 7-6. This week they got Glenwood on 6-4 at home, and it was raining right before I started. This Tuesday night, I'm recording this podcast pretty late, so Tuesday night about 6:30. But they're going to play Glenwood tonight, and then after that they play Sydney at Sydney on 6-6. Stats leaders for the Red Oaks girls softball team: Jade Lindsay's batting .400. She has a .478 on base percentage and a .600 slugging. She's got two doubles and a triple. Alexis Joint, she's batting .350, .409 on base percentage, a .450 slugging, and she leads the team with 4 RBIs along with Josie McCunn. Merced Ramirez batting .333. She's got a .429 on base percentage and a 533 slugging. And then finally, Tori Wint, she's batting 300, 300 on base and 350 slugging. Josie McCunn, I mentioned that she tied for the lead with 4 RBIs on the team. She's also the pitcher. She's had 35 innings pitched with 22 Ks. And Casey Kells leads the team with 3 stolen bases. We'll move on. Make sure you get out. They're not at home this week, but they're head over Sydney. But check the calendar. It's on Red Oak School District's website, or Varsity Bound. That's where it's going to take you to. It's kind of Varsity Bound. Quick Stats is way better, but Varsity Bound, you got to quick click Iowa. You got to type in Red Oak. You got to find the activity, and then you'll get there. So it's about 4 or 5 clicks before you get to it. Baseball went 1-5 last week. They also had a big win over Southwest Valley, 4-2 on Monday night. The schedule for this week: Glenwood tonight at home. On 6-6, I believe that's Thursday, they'll be playing East Mills. And then on 6-7, which is Friday, they have a doubleheader against Kemper. So they got 3 home games this week, 2 to end the week, or 3 to end the week. So if you want to see 2 varsity games, you're looking at Friday night, or East Mills is in town Thursday night. And I'm pretty sure the young boys, the freshmen, they play most mornings, so you can get over there about 10 a.m. and pick up a baseball game. Some stat leaders for Red Oak. The boys, they have 4 guys over 300 batting average. Carson Roeder, who is hurt. I heard that at the Lewis Central game last week, one of their players trucked Roeder at home plate. He got kind of injured, so we hope that Carson gets his quick recovery and gets back on the field soon for the Tigers. Mike Carson, he's batting over 300. Nolan Perrin, Brody Bond, and Brett Erickson. Roeder has a .467 on base percentage. Bond, Byer, Fisher, they lead the team with 4 RBIs each. Stolen bases: Adam Byer 7 for 8, so he has 7 stolen bases and 8 tries. Brody Bond, he's 6 for 6. Cale Hall's 5 for 5, and Brett Erickson is 5 for 6. Pitching wise, 2 guys have really been their top guys. It seems like this year with innings. Brett Erickson's pitched 16.2, and Reese Montgomery's pitched 15.2. And same for strikeouts. Erickson has 21, and Montgomery has 18. So get out there and support your Tigers softball or baseball. I'm sure they'd love to see you out there and cheer them on. Those nights, it gets a little cooler after 7:30, so they're nice, and they got the nice shade at the baseball field, so it's in the bleachers. So get out there and support your Tigers. We didn't talk about NBA Finals last week, or we might have. I don't know, maybe we skipped it the week before. I don't know. My thought process in the NBA. No one really cares. But I don't know. It's Mavs versus Celtics in the NBA Finals. It starts Thursday. I'll make a poll on Spotify, so you can pick your winner, who you think is going to pull it out. Like I said, next week we will definitely have a new guest here, somebody that will fill a little more time. I'm feeling like this one's going to be about a 20-minute podcast. I have a personal top 5 I'm going to do here in a minute, but that's pretty much all the stuff I had to talk about. I don't really have any topics to talk about, so we're just going to move on to the top 5, and we'll get back with you next week with a longer episode. I like my hour and a half, 2-hour episodes, but we'll have a guest, and Kip will definitely be back. So my top 5, personally, this week is my favorite books. Trained about 10, 12 years ago, I really got into books. I started more like 15 years ago when I was working down in North Carolina. My boss down there would always tell me that, everybody's doing the same thing at work. Everybody's learning the same stuff. So everything you read, everything that you, more knowledge that you gain is putting you ahead of the people that are in the same business as you and same peer group. So the more you can develop your brain elasticity, the more you can read, the more you can understand, the more you can just be a better person in my mind. Not even a better person. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm looking for the right words, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. So I started reading some books, and then I got into a guy named Joshua Medcalf. Um, he had a book challenge, so that's what I kind of started on. It's called T2BC, so it's Train to Be Clutch. So T2BC.com. And he's got about a 65, 70 book challenge, and you got to read all those in 2 years. The cool thing is you can email him. He gives out his phone number. You can call him and ask him about books, and he's happy to talk to you about them. So the books I'm going to share with you today, nobody's paying me to show you these books. I don't have any cash flow or anything from this, so no sponsorships or anything. So these are just my favorite books. So like I talked about, I'm gonna I didn't want to. I have a huge honorable mention tonight because I sat here for 20 minutes trying to figure out what books I wanted to pick. But my favorite book, I don't have it. I used to give it out as a graduation present to kids. I'd get a signed copy from Joshua Medcalf. I think I gave my last one to Dawson Bond or Landon Cowles or Baz or somebody. Somebody has it. But that book was Chop Wood, Carry Water. Great book. It kind of tells a story. Bunch of different fables, and it just makes you think about different things and different motivations and stuff. So I also have read, that's the thing about his book challenge is you get into his book challenge, you're going to get his books. And then his buddy Jamie Gilbert. So I have Win in the Dark, which is a great book about a basketball player gets hurt, breaks his arm, gets in trouble, and then he puts the work in to figure out to get by. So that's a good one. Hustle is also by Joshua Medcalf. It's how to dominate your industry even without the traditional credentials. Why you should stop networking and start building. It's just teaching about hustling and getting after it in the workplace. The people at the top of the mountain didn't fall there. You had to climb there to get there. And that's big. There's one of Jamie Gilbert's books. It's called The Principal Circle. The truth will keep you in the fight. The truth will set you free. So it's just another motivational book. These are big fable books. One of my favorite, and if you can see here, I'm a freak when it comes to reading books. I have tagged this book crazy. One of my favorite fables in there, he talks about a guy. He would go around and sell matches, individual matches, door to door. And that's what he did as a child while his buddies were out playing. And he was just an entrepreneur, and he was trying to find his way, and he was any way he could to make money, any way he could advance. He did, and that gentleman ended up being the founder of IKEA. So, and another one of my favorite books or fables from these books is when they talk about a builder. He had been working for this company for 30, 40 years, and he's getting ready to retire. And the owner of the company says, we want to, I really appreciate all the hard work you've done for us. You've built all these amazing homes, and I just need you to build one more home. And once you build that, you can be done. And the gentleman that was retiring is like, man, I want to retire. Like, I don't want to do this, but okay, I'll build this last house. So 6, 8, 10 months later, the house is done, and he didn't give his all like he did on all the other ones. He didn't give his all in finishing it. He didn't give his all in like making sure it was set right. He just had his guys just build this house, get it done. Let's get out of here. That house ended up being a gift to that gentleman that was retiring. So it kind of teaches you to, don't stop, don't quit till the end, because there's always a payout. There's always something positive. If you just keep working and keep putting your full effort in on everything you do, good things will happen. So don't give up. Never give up. Another book, this one is by Seth Matheson and Joshua Medcalf, The War at Work. It's a tale of navigating the unwritten rules of the hierarchy in a half-changed world. So it's kind of another fables work story line. And the last one, this is Jamie Gilbert and Joshua Medcalf, an Impractical Guide to Becoming a Transformational Leader. This is just trying to show you that, it's almost on the same lines. Oh, and you guys can see my sweet painted fingernails. That's how I get kids to work in class. The girl wanted to paint my fingernails, so I was like, hey, you paint my fingernails, I'll let you, and you have to do this assignment. So she got it done. But Impractical Guide to Becoming a Transformational Leader is big on growth mindset to fixed mindset. Carol DeWick, she's a professor at Stanford University. She wrote a book about growth mindset, and that's a great book to accompany the Impractical Guide to Becoming a Transformational Leader. So that's number one of my honorable mention. Number two of my honorable mention, Cody Alexander. He's a football coach. Amazing defensive mind. He coached at Baylor. He's coached in high school levels down in Texas and stuff. But I've got 3 of his books, all about match quarters defense. These are my Bibles when it comes to my kind of defense. This is what all Saban runs and stuff like that. So you got the hybrid, the making of a modern defense, match quarters, a modern guidebook to split field coverages, and then anchor points, building a defense from the ground up. 3 books that I've read 3 or 4 times, and I just really enjoy reading the in and outs of football. It's got a lot of graphics and pictures in there to show you different things. But that's just my life is football. Next, me and the boys have talked about this so many times that I don't need to put it in my top 5. You all know that it's one of my favorite books. Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins. It's just he's amazing. He's amazing. Iowa Pride right here. Dan Gable, Season on the Mat. Great book. Dan Gable's a great mind, great human being. And he tells us some great stories, and you get to understand about his family and the trauma they went through when he was younger. And my last ones for my honorable mention are 2 Iowa high school football coaches that are pretty amazing. They're both retired in different forms, but these are 2 of the greatest coaches in high school football. So we have Let the Chips Fall Where They May. Kurt Blatt, Harlan High School. It also came with a DVD. I watched it. It was about the history of what am I thinking? The history of Harlan football. Funny thing is, in here, the Black kids in 2007, I have a picture. So maybe I should get that to Coach Blatt. And also I got its autographed because that's how I live. Kurt Blatt. But this was to Tom. And then the other book is the Ed Thomas book, Sacred Acre. Coach Thomas was unfortunately murdered in the weight room during the summer lifting by one of his ex-players. One of the greatest coaches in Iowa high school football, one of the greatest coaches in high school football, just led by example. He's a great man, and just he did it the right way, coaching football and everything. So that's my honorable mention. I told you I had a lot because I just love books. I'll flip this around quick so you can see. I love books. There's a lot of books. But let's hop into my top 5. So my first one. If football a religion, why don't we have a prayer? Philadelphia is faithful in the eternal quest for sports salvation. This is a hilarious book. I got this before they won their Super Bowl. It just talks about just the misery of being a Philadelphia Eagles fan. There's a funny story in there about the author, his wife, Jer Longman. His wife, they're sitting up way up in the top of the old vet before they played at the Link. And his wife was sitting there with her shoes off because it was hot. And she felt something on her feet, and she looked down, and a guy was licking her toes. Welcome to Philly. So that's my number 5. Number 4, it's a book by Mel Robbins, The 5-Second Rule: Transform Your Life, Work, and Confidence with Everyday Courage. It's just a book that it kind of helped me to open up more, to be more available to people. So it's basically saying, if you have to make a decision about something, you should count to 5 and then do it. And I've used it. You got some phone calls you got to make that are pretty tough. You got some conversations you got to have. Just different things in life that you struggle to do. I know a lot of people have anxiety nowadays, which is, I mean, if you can put this into your life and allow you it's almost like the old, what was that Jim Carrey movie where he had to say yes man, or something. But it's similar to that, but it's not saying yes to everything. It's building the courage to step up and do something. Just the simple day to day things that people struggle with. So that's another great book. That was the 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. Two more books. I'm zooming through these. Oh, 3 more. I'm sorry, 3 more. Number 3 of my favorite books of all time. This one's called The Promise of a Pencil: How an Ordinary Person Can Create Extraordinary Change. It's by Adam Braun. For anyone with a big dream to transform the world, this book will show you how to get it done. So you see right here, this is just a story. The guy tells a story about how he wanted to help people make a change, and it all started with sending pencils overseas to struggling countries that needed education. Then they have building houses, or not houses, schools and stuff, and teaching you to walk with a purpose. Get things done. Don't be afraid to step out of your box and go and help other people, but help those that need help. And instead of just helping them and giving them stuff, find something to help them in the long run, like building schools, right? I know not everybody can do that, but there's plenty of stuff that you can do, teaching about life, just being there present, even, friends and family and stuff like that. You can always do that for them too. But The Promise of a Pencil, it's a great story about a true story, obviously, about a guy named Adam Braun that went and helped change the life of some young Laos kids. Number 2, back to the football lifestyle. My second book is a book about a high school in Minnesota. They had a 68-game winning streak. They got like 10 state titles in the last 14 years. Caledonia, Minnesota. It's called Rise of the Warriors: A Change in Football Culture That Transformed the Community. Now, I like reading books about from high school coaches. I have another one up here. Let me grab it quick. These are 2 other ones I have. These are by Randy Jackson. Culture Defeats Strategy 1 and 2. Cool thing is, I've been able to connect with Randy in the past few years. He left the state of Texas. He was coaching at Sweetwater. Check that stadium out, Sweetwater, Texas. I stopped there because it's sweet. But I've been able to connect with him on Facebook. He's now coaching overseas. He coached there for a year. Now he's back, just helping other coaches be great. But back to the Rise of the Warriors. I was saying it's a school in Minnesota, dominant, but they weren't always that way. And what the coach, this isn't a book to just brag about how they've won that winning streak and they've won all these state titles and everything. It's to talk about how he did it. It wasn't about the wins and losses. It was building the culture, having a coach that is willing to be there for the kids, building that brotherhood. If you've been around my football program, I mean, it's pretty similar to what I preach, because if you have a brotherhood and you have everybody on one common goal, one common expectation from themselves, you can do more than the most athletic teams in the world. Because if you're playing together, you're a 11 man turned into 1 man. So I love that book. That's another amazing book. I've got some more stories. Our Boys, it's a story about a school out in Nebraska. Things like that. Gosh, I could talk books all night long. My wife said I should make this into a book podcast. But I don't want to sit here and show you all 3,000 books I have. But let's get to the number 1 book. Now I'm just looking and see if I missed any, because I just noticed my other shelf of books that I didn't even look at. like The Terrible Hours by Peter Moss. That's a story about a submarine that got trapped under the water, and it was like 42 hours that they were stuck down there, and they finally saved them. If they would have been down there for like another 5 hours, they would have all died. It was crazy, crazy story. But anyways, sorry, getting off base. I just saw a fly by, you know. My last book, my number one book that I've read, I think it's became my number one book. Usually I say Chopwood Carry Water is my number one book to read, and I always share that with people. But after this gentleman passed away, this book has kind of vaulted up to my favorite list, and that's Leading the Charge in Football and Life, Swing Your Sword, Mike Leach. This guy's amazing. He's somebody that kind of on this book topic. He has 3 topics that he studies every year. He picks 3 different topics every year. That's kind of what I've talked about where I've done this. And I like to study 3 topics. So, you know, I maybe an animal. I know one year I did guerrilla warfare. I've done lions. I've done tigers. I've done Vikings, Norwegian heritage, military strategies. You know, it's different things you can read and just kind of advance your knowledge, or things that you are interested in, but you know you just never had the time to read them. So that's a short. Let's see, 3, 5, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 of my favorite books. I read about 30 books a year. That's my goal. But yeah, read books. Yeah, finally, thank you for listening to this very short episode, 26 minutes, 27 minutes. I promise I'll have a guest again next week. What else is there to say? Nothing else. I hope this works. I'm going to push this button because I got this new sound box, and I'm going to see if it works. So I hope you guys can hear that because I'm jamming out. So see you next week. Thanks for watching, and peace.